Hi, welcome to Luxury and Moderation, where we appreciate the finer things in life without going overboard. So I thought it was about time I shared how much I used all of my bags throughout the year. So I hope this gives you a little insight into what I find the most practical and what the best, cost per wear bag for me was. The first two bags, which I actually didn't tally, but I know are my most used bags of 2024, are my two garden parties. So Garden Party 36 and then Garden Party 30. And I would say it's been an even split between the two. This was my work bag the first half of the year, and then this was my work bag the second half of the year, which is why I know I use them the most because I took them to work every single week. I really only switched because of the weight. I was throwing everything in the bigger one, including my laptop, including everything else that I bring with me, and it was just getting a lot heavier. So then I switched to carrying two bags, a separate laptop bag, and then this smaller Garden Party 30, which is halfway through the year. So for me, I think the garden parties are super functional. I love that I can carry it open like this, but there have been a few cases for both bags where I had a last minute evening event to attend, and then I could just clip up the sides and make it look a little bit less business-like. A little bit more like evening bag style, so it wouldn't just stand out in the crowd like I was going to this dinner with a huge laptop. So I like how versatile that is. The quality is amazing. I was a little bit worried that I was loading the 36 size up too much and the handles would break or something because of just throwing all the heavy things in there. But because the handles go all the way down and then across and it's stitched every single inch, it's not like the handles can break off and your bag can fall to the ground. It's just very well constructed. I love the look of these as well. So most used bags of 2024 Hermes Garden Party. Next, I used my Mini Lindy a total of 18 times. So here it is. Actually, I just used it yesterday, so you could count that as 19 times. This makes sense to me because this was one of my newest bags into my collection. I got this late last November, so I'm still very excited about this bag because it's a newer piece. It's not like old and like normal to me yet. I don't know if it will become that way, but one of the main reasons why I use this bag so much, not only because I'm very excited about it, and not only because it's a really beautiful color that I think goes with a lot of my outfits, but also because it's so easy to use. It's crossbody, which I love, being hands-free, and it's super functional. It's big enough to carry all of my essentials without everything getting squished. It's not too small, but also because that it's low-key. If you don't know that this is an Hermes bag, this is just a bag to you. It doesn't have a giant H in the front or anything. In fact, the stamp itself is even covered when you close the lid, and I mostly just use it with the turn lock. I don't normally zip it up, but I do have the turn lock closed, so I can go anywhere with this bag and feel like I'm not shouting that I'm wearing a luxury bag. So super, super happy with this purchase, and I've really gotten the use out of it this year. The second most used bag, according to my tally, is my Louis Vuitton Pochette Métis. And the reason why this is my second most used is a lot of the reasons why the Mini Lindy was my first most used. Again, it is crossbody. I love that convenience. And even though you can see the monogram, it's not as loud as, the canvas prints, or if this was in like the black background with white contrast monogram, it's still kind of embossed, so the logo is slightly there. I feel like it has even more capacity than the Mini Lindy, so if I know I'm going to be carrying a little bit more that day, this would be my go-to bag for that weekend event. Lots of pockets, so super functional. Again, very great quality. I really can't see any wear and tear on it, so makes a lot of sense again to me that this is my second most used luxury handbag. And I used it 13 times. Next, we have the Her bag. So as you can see, it is also a crossbody. So again, I love that functionality. This bag I purchased earlier this spring, specifically to go on my Germany trip, but I knew it would be useful after that trip as well, and it has proven to be. It has even more capacity than the Pochette Matisse, so again, if I know I'm going to be carrying more than that, like if I want to stuff a sweater in this, it's perfect. It has the back zip pocket where I can easily stash my phone. Very happy with the amount of times that I've used this, seeing as this is the most recent purchase in my handbag collection. And I used this a total of 11 times this year. Oh, and this is interesting. Now we have a two-way tie, and these bags you might not expect to have a tie. My Birkin 30 and my Chanel wallet on chain. Okay, so let's go through why these are my next most used, but still I only used these bags 6 times each this year. So for me, when I would see that my Birkin tally was so low, that signaled something to me this year of like, oh, it's interesting. I don't use my Birkin that much in my everyday, day-to-day practical life. I think if I still lived in New York City, I may have used this a little bit more. There have been more occasions where I felt like this was an appropriate bag to bring. But in my current lifestyle, which is very casual, I really don't go anywhere fancy often. This is not a bag that I just reach for. It wouldn't be right for the location or whatever. I actually had to try really hard to find occasions to grab my Birkin. If there was a specific thing that I had to plan to go to and I was like, another bag could work, but the Birkin could work, and you know, I haven't used my Birkin that much, so really I should take this opportunity to use my Birkin. That's when half of those tallies came. So it was interesting for me that for my most expensive bag I have ever purchased, this is not the most popular bag for me to use. You know, that's just something to be aware of. If you are trying to get a Birkin or thinking about, you know, adding a Birkin to your collection, and if you care about cost per wear, that's something that you'll just need to understand if you'll be able to wear your Birkin that much. The other one, which is my Chanel wallet on chain, which again, also used 6 times. I mean, this was for those occasions where I really felt like I didn't need to bring a lot of stuff and I wanted to be hands-free. I usually like to bring more things than this, especially because I don't like putting my phone in this. I like having the phone where I can access it more easily, but unfortunately the back pocket really isn't that big, so I can't stuff my phone in vertically, but I just don't love doing that for the whole day because it could fall out. So again, had to really use this when I could. So after that, then we have my Kelly DuPage pouch, which I have used 5 times this year. And 5 times for this pouch, and how small it is, I think is interesting. And I think it's only 5 because I really tried hard to find places where I could bring this, because as I said in a previous video, I think I paid too much for this. I don't think it's worth the price of like $9,000. So I was like, I better make this worth it to keep in my collection. Because if I sell it, I'm going to lose money on it, you know? So what's the point in me selling it too? So let's make sure that I use this very expensive pouch. I have used it 2 or 3 times with the strap that it comes with. Right now I have the crossbody on it, a third-party crossbody on it, but I think I've used it more times with the pouch as an evening clutch. So I am actually very shocked that I have had so many evening events to go to. I'm not like a socialite who has fancy parties to go to. So the fact that I've used this 5 times this year is pretty good to me, but it's still the most expensive cost per wear bag I've ever had, I think. Since I bought this in Europe, I got that back and I got a good price on it, and it was a couple of more years ago versus this bag. So I feel like I think I paid similarly for these 2 bags, and you can see why I really don't think this pouch is worth it, right? I'm going off on a tangent here, but look at the difference in the amount of leather. Also craftsmanship, like yes, it takes some craftsmanship to like put on the Kelly clasp, and I think this specific Kelly clasp is why the markup, but still there's more construction in the Birkin. You know, you gotta put on handles, you gotta put on this back flap. So yeah, still working on getting this cost per wear down. Now we're getting to the really low numbers. There actually are a few vintage bags in my collections, which I didn't reach for at all, so I'm not even going to mention those. But then we have the Kelly. So my Kelly 28, I used a total of 4 times this year. That was a little bit surprising to me because, you know, it is a crossbody, which means, you know, I love that hands-free. Why didn't I use this more? I don't know. I just felt like maybe, again, my lifestyle's so casual. I only go to casual places. I don't really need to bring a Kelly, and especially a black Kelly at that. I had to really be like, I should really take advantage of this occasion to use my Kelly because I really don't have that many places to go with my Kelly. So used it 4 times the whole year. Finally, we get to my Chanel Classic flaps. So I don't know if this is shocking to anyone or not, but my Chanel Classic in the medium size in my navy blue, I used a total of 3 times this year. That made me realize that, again, I'm just not this fancy. I still love how it looks. I think it's a very elegant bag, but there's nowhere that I go that is this fancy and elegant. So I think the times that I've used this has been, you know, when me and my husband are going to a nice restaurant. Like, that's it. Like, oh, this is the 3 times that I can use this bag. And this also makes me realize that I'm not a big Chanel fashionista. It's just not my style. I love it. I think other people look gorgeous in it. And some people, like Chase Amy here on YouTube, she is like a Chanel icon. She can make any Chanel bag look perfect. But her style, and like I wish I had her sense of fashion, but I just don't. So it's just, you know, I'm glad that I have this in my collection because I do like it when I take it out, but that is very few and far between. Then we have my Chanel jumbo size in this very light cream color and a very light gold. I've used this twice this year, and twice I think is a very good and big deal for this bag because I don't even know if I used it twice last year. It's same issue with the medium size, which is that I don't go anywhere this fancy, but in an added issue to that is that it's larger, so it draws a little bit more attention. It's heavier, so it's not as easy to carry as the small one. You know, I feel like it's more of a day bag than an evening bag, so I wouldn't even feel like I would wear it to a nice dinner. You know, in that case, then I would go with the medium one. So actually pretty pleased that I used this twice this year. I have thought about selling it, but again, I know that I got this at an amazing deal, and if I were to ever let go of it and then want it back in my collection. I could never have it at the price that I got it. So that's why I'm holding on to this one and just trying to find occasions where I can reduce the cost per wear and really enjoy the bag and use it. Okay, so now we are down to my last bag, which I will share with you, which is my little Bottega Veneta knot clutch. I've also used this a total of 2 times this year. Similar case in the other small bags where I don't go to a lot of fancy evening events where this would be appropriate. So when those occasions do come up, I try to bring this. I usually use it with the strap because, you know, how many times am I going to say this in the video where I like being hands-free? So I do love that I can carry it on my shoulder or cross-body because, you know, at these events you are usually eating hors d'oeuvres where you need your hands or carrying a drink. So again, just appreciative that I had the opportunity to use this year because, you know, there's really not anywhere I could take with this during the day that would make sense. So let me know what you think about my most and least used bags. Which one do you think you would use the most? If you have your collection to share, would love to hear that. And thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate the time that you spend with me on my channel, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!